Hello guys, everyone. So yes, you must be noticing there must be a change in the name and icon and logo of the channel. Yes, some rebranding has been done, and this new place is now called Plains Overhead. So you could also read the description and everything. Now I'm on Facebook as well, so do follow me on Facebook, like the page, and yeah, the idea is same, spread free knowledge basically. So all right, let's get started with and I'm gonna upload videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays now, so stay tuned, spread the word to everyone. Okay, so today what we did last week was pistons. We finished constructions and working, so now I'm gonna give you something about extra about pistons, a few points that can be just helpful in all sort of exams. So these points you just need to read once, because there are key questions that are generally asked. So there's nothing explanatory in this, so just note down them, or you could just um, read through or watch the video again whenever you want to. The number of revolution of crankshaft to complete a full cycle in a multi-cylinder engine is always 2. Okay, second point, order of the piston engine running. Order of piston or order is induction, compression, power, and exhaust. Sometimes questions have been turned around and asked as well, so it can also be as induction, compression. There's another one added, combustion, just to add another step or stage, and this power and exhaust remain the same. Third point, power stroke is also called as combustion stroke, or is also called as constant volume stroke. Okay, fourth one, piston engine is called as, if you remember, if you guys have seen the previous videos, if you have not, just go back, hit the previous videos and just read through again. It is called a constant volume engine. Okay, during the 4-stroke cycle, the spark is timed to occur before TDC on the compression stroke. Okay, I had also drawn the diagram, if you remember, the practical and the theoretical, so just go through that as well. Now these 2 points I'm going to mention are very critical and important. The valve timing is fixed for an engine and does not vary with engine speed. Okay, this is very important, guys. Seventh is also very important. What varies is the ignition timing. Ignition timing varies, not the valve timing, basically, not valve timing. Okay, what is SFC? Next one, eighth one, that is SFC, specific fuel consumption, is fuel consumption by bhp, brake horse power. Naturally aspirated or normally aspirated, or also called as unsupercharged engine, give maximum power at sea level. Okay, and power decreases with increase in altitude because the density of the air at sea level is high. That's why it is naturally aspirated, so cooling is better, so efficiency is of course increasing. Pistons, this is also very important. What are pistons made of? Pistons are made of cast iron. Why? Because of cast iron has self lubricating properties. Alright, now the most important part that you have to actually remember during an exam are these smoke colors. Smoke colors. Blue smoke indicates oil burning in combustion chamber. Alright, black smoke indicates rich, your mixture is rich. Okay, white smoke indicates water is there in fuel. Water in fuel. This is white smoke. Puff of grey smoke, I think I mentioned in a previous video as well, detonation takes place. Lastly is yellow smoke. Fuel is burning in the exhaust pipe. Okay, now this is called something called as torching. It catches fire, or fuel is burning in the exhaust pipe. Next is crankshaft and 12th. Crankshaft, it converts linear motion to rotary motion. Okay, what does the crank, crank, so and connecting rod transfers linear motion to rotary motion. Now this is converting directly. Connecting rod is just transferring that linear motion to your rotary motion. Okay, alright, let's head to the next point, 13. So also, now if you have too much valve clearance, excessive valve clearance, excessive of valve clearance will lead to opening of valve late and closing of valve early. So if you have excessive valve clearance, this is what is going to happen. 14th, if your temperature is increasing, this will decrease the weight of the mixture entering in the cylinder. Why? Because if your temperature is increasing, your volume will increase, and if the volume of the mixture is increasing, the weight will of course come down, so there will be less. That's why if at higher temperatures the engines are not efficient. Okay, next, ratio of power produced by the engine to the power available is thermal efficiency, that I already mentioned in the previous one. You can just write it down again. Power produced by engine by power available in fuel. This is your thermal efficiency. Okay, this is the ratio. Number 16th. Okay, so thermal efficiency of piston engine increases with increase in compression ratio. Alright, you guys remember what compression ratio is, right? In the previous video I mentioned the details as well. Okay, next, number 17. Okay, so the temperature of the charge from compression stroke will increase, because when it's compressing, your temperature that is there will obviously shoot up. 18th, volume of mixture is constant on power stroke. I'm sure you guys now by now know what exactly the volume I'm talking about. Okay, next, engine power depends on RPM, compression ratio and combustion pressure. This combustion pressure I'm talking about is IMEP. If you remember, it is indicated mean effective pressure. Previous video I've explained what IMEP is as well. So number 20, most internal combustion piston engine are 90% efficient. Okay, 21 point. Okay, so firing order. Now this is as well as important. In a 4-cylinder inline engine, the firing order is 1 3 4 2. The first cylinder for third cylinder second, fourth cylinder third, second cylinder the last. That is the firing order in a 4-cylinder inline engine. Now if the engine is a 6-cylinder engine, okay, so that is 21 22. So in a 6-cylinder engine, the firing order is 1 5 3 6 2 4. This is a very important question they ask generally in exams. What is the firing order? Now in a 23rd 4-cylinder, the previous one I discussed was inline. This is horizontally opposed. In this, the firing order is 1 3 2 4. If you remember in the previous one I said 1 3 4 2. This is the Lycoming engine. Join the Cessnas and stuff. That's the one that's there. Okay, 24. Very important. Coldest cylinder is number 1. Hottest cylinder is number 4. Now this hottest cylinder number 4 is in front of the cowling, where it gets maximum air, so it cools down faster. Number 1 is close inside, in the inside of the near closer to the firewall, you could tell, or closer to the cockpit in case of a piston engine with a single engine in front of you. So that case, the coldest is the front one, of course, because it's getting cooling, and the hottest is at the end. Hottest one is at the end, where it's not getting much air. So the coldest one, number 1 is in front, closer to the propeller, and the hottest one is at the end where it is not able to get a lot of air. Okay, camshaft rotates half the engine speed. Okay, we had discussed rotation speed in a tabular column I had given. Okay, 26. Volumetric efficiency increases with an increase in engine RPM at sea level. It's obvious, right? I told you that at sea level your air density is higher, so your efficiency will be much better since due to cooling and more air that it pushes backward. 27. Exhaust back pressure. I hope that's a familiar term. Exhaust back pressure is the pressure applied by the atmosphere when during an exhaust. So it reduces volumetric efficiency. Now the next point is pretty understandable. Exhaust back pressure decreases with increasing altitude. Why do you think so? Because at higher altitude your air density is less, so the atmosphere will resistance provided by the atmosphere to the exhaust gases is obviously less, so exhaust gas pressure will be less at higher altitude. Cool. Alright, so now let's go to number 28. Valve overlap. What is valve overlap? If you remember in the previous video, again I had mentioned valve overlap is when your inlet valve and outlet valve open. It's basically the practical Otto cycle. Alright, so it improves volumetric efficiency. Your inlet and outlet valve open and close before time and stays closed for a longer time as well. Now that is done. 29. Now there's something called as tappet clearance I had discussed, the word only, though I had not explained much on it. So now tappet clearance is to allow sufficient margin for thermal expansion. Okay, so this is tappet clearance is used to allow sufficient margin for thermal expansion. Generally we use hydraulic tappets to reduce noise and maintenance, since they are much better. Now it's very important here, if your tappet clearance is insufficient, then there will be a popping back effect in the induction in the induction manifold. There will be a popping back effect because the tappet clearance is insufficient, so your thermal expansion is not possible, so that the engine will pop back into the engine manifold from where induction manifold where your mixture is actually coming in. Number 31. The inlet and exhaust valve are closed by valve springs. So these are if you saw in the diagram in the previous video as well, they look like a structure that has springs, and that is called as valve spring. So the inlet and outlet valve are closed with the help of that. Number 32. So to improve safety and valve bounce, 2 or more valve springs are fitted. in opposite direction, because the two valve springs are fitted. Because if the springs fail, if you have single spring, if the spring fail, the valve will stay in the open condition, and that is not going to allow any combustion or any sort of compression. The whole cycle, the Otto cycle, will fail. So hence safety, and obviously the valve bounce, the bounce should be proper, exact timing should be there. So 2 or more valve springs are generally fitted. 33. The oil control ring. Remember the oil control ring, it drains down oil in the piston, is located below the compression rings. Okay, this is very important. The oil control ring is located below the compression rings, so that it drains down into the case, the cylinder case. 34. Thermal efficiency of a piston engine is best only at 25 to 28%. Just a theoretical number basically. Last point here, crankcase breather or vents. What are these used for? Prevent pressure build up inside the engine crank case, maintains atmospheric pressure and inside pressure. C, the last one, gives positive flow to the fuel. So now this one, crankcase breather, it is generally on the cylinder. So where just like a pressure cooker, it basically if you keep on increasing the heat inside, it's gonna blast. So these vents release these pressure into the atmosphere, so that it maintains a certain amount that is required to keep the integrity of the crankcase. And of course, due to pressure differences, it maintains a positive flow to the fuel. So alright, we are done with piston engines completely. This video is there's no explanatory stuff. It's just a few key points that are generally asked by the examiners or the interviewers who are looking for piston engine questions. Alright, so yes, so that's all about it. And if you like the video, do share it, like it, of course, subscribe to the channel, and hit me up on Facebook, support the cause. And gonna upload videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays. So hope to see you soon, day after. Take care.